Hello, everybody. Welcome to From the Top, presented by Armina Stone. I'm your host, Celina Pompeani, and I got these great guys from Bamp with me today. So I want to introduce you to my two guests on the podcast. We have Paul Scarmazzi. He's the president of Scarmazzi Homes and Bamp. And we also have Jim Eichenlaub. He is the executive director of Bamp and AMP. So guys, great to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Great to be here.
Thanks for having us.
So for those of you who may not know, Bamp is the Builders Association of Metropolitan Pittsburgh, and AMP is the Apartment Association of Metropolitan Pittsburgh. So you both have been involved for so many years. How did you get started? We'll start with you, Paul.
Well, I was a former president of the Washington County Builders Association, and that got merged into Bamp. But I've always enjoyed service. I've served on school boards. I've served on a board for the Cancer Society, et cetera. And it's a fun way to give back. And so it's a privilege and opportunity to serve some of the builders and associates that we work with.
Oh, for sure. What about you, Jim?
I've been with the association for 25 years.
Wow.
Started out as their director of government affairs, which is really my background. I was involved in local government since I was 18 in one form or fashion, and then came to Bamp as their, as I said, their director of government affairs, overseeing public policy issues, and then for the last 13 years as their executive director.
Mm-hmm. And Bamp has been around for a long time, 1938, right?
That's correct. We're one of the oldest home builders association in the country. We actually started during the Depression. At the time, there was concern that government was going to take over home building, and so a group of home builders from across the area came together and said we need to have a voice for our industry, and that's evolved. We then have actually created the National Association of Home Builders and the Pennsylvania Builders Association, us and other locals across the country and in the state, because we wanted a voice in Harrisburg and in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that you have a ton of members. I want to talk about who is involved and how do you become involved if somebody was listening to us right now, if they wanted to join, if they wanted to be a member. How do you do so, and what are the benefits of being a member of Bamp?
Well, I'll answer that in reverse. So the members of being a member of Bamp, I think, are numerous. But it's like any organization, you get out what you put in. So we find that some of our most active people get the most benefit. Armina and Emery are tremendous supporters of Bamp, and they participate a lot. So I think that, for me, it's the opportunity to network, and what I mean by that is being amongst your peers, having people to problem solve and talk with openly. Mm-hmm. It's a challenging business and industry, so being either with other builders or suppliers, there's opportunities and resources available for you just by interacting with them. And I think, as Jim had talked about, legislation is a very important issue for us. Building costs right now are kind of out of control, and so we're all about green and building right, but we want to see unnecessary regulations such as a mandatory outlet in a garage for a Tesla when people don't own Teslas. So we try to keep affordability, and we try to fight the good fight on the legislative side, and Jim, through his background, represents all the members very well. And I think savings, I think there's opportunities for people to participate in some of the rebate programs that are offered. We had a check for $1,500 last year, and we used various sources for rebates. So it's buying, it's resources, it's savings that are available through Bamp. And there's also other resources through the National Association of Home Builders, the Pennsylvania Builders Association, such as legal documents, et cetera, that are available at a fraction of the cost of what you would if you hired a white-collar law firm downtown. So it's engagement and what people get out of it, but there's a lot of things on the shelf and resources from the pull off.
Mm-hmm. And Celina, I want everyone to understand, our title is Builders and Apartment Associations. Certainly the home builders and remodelers are a core portion of our organization, but it's all the other people that are involved in the construction aspect. So it's suppliers like Armina, but subcontractors, architects, engineers, designers, all those folks who make up the home building, home construction industry, and it's an important part of our economy. It represents 16 cents on every dollar of our gross national product is directly related to the home construction industry. So it's an important part of our economy, and a lot of businesses that are involved in building a home, and all of those folks come together under the umbrella of Bamp.
Mm-hmm. What are the main differences between Bamp and AMP?
Well, again, Bamp started in 38, but a lot of our builders and developers, folks who build housing, would do mixed-use development, so it would be a combination of single-family homes and apartments or condominiums and so on. So back in 74, though, they realized that there's times that the apartment industry has issues that don't always, aren't of importance per se to the home construction side, property management, those sort of things. So there was and of course sometimes they are controlled or regulated by legislation that impacts specifically them. So they felt a need to create an umbrella as well under the umbrella of Bamp. So there are times that they have to stand up and deal with a specific issue that relates just to multifamily. So we're now truly a housing organization. No matter what your housing choice is, our organization is there to promote that safe, decent, affordable housing, no matter what your housing choice might be.
You cover it all. I love it.
If it's housing, we don't represent anyone who builds teepees, but we're still
not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, I love when I'm driving down the Boulevard of the Allies because I always wave hi to my friends at Bamp.
That is our corporate location, and we use that site for seminars and meetings and so on. But the association does have a core staff that serves the members in all the services that we do, and that's our home-based location. Centrally located because we cover all of southwestern PA. It's Allegheny and the surrounding counties. So we're the largest home builders association in the state, one of the largest in the country, and very proud of that.
That's wonderful. And Paul, you are the president, so tell me what your goals are and how you see it evolving. I mean, what are you most excited about, and what are you looking forward to as president?
Well, I think after this past year, one of the things I'm looking forward is to getting together again. And we're all social creatures, and so the opportunity to have events together and get together again is a welcome relief. So, getting people reconnected is certainly a priority of ours. But as I've looked at the organization, as I look at the world we live on right now, we want to move Bamp forward on a digital front. And so, what our goal is to become an industry source and try to pivot and make it more retail-oriented, for lack of a better word. Bamp has always been a business of members, if you will, and we want to kind of turn that around. So to make Bamp coming into a more sustainable digital type of world is really my goal.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a great goal. It really is. And speaking of in-person events, we are here together because we have a great event happening at Armina Stone in Cranberry Township tonight with Bamp, of course, our little soft opening. But I'm sure things were so different all of last year for you as they were for everybody. And you had your Festival of Homes, which is a huge deal, all virtually last year, right?
We did. And I think, credit to Jim and the staff. March came and we had no idea what we were going to do. The Festival of Homes is a very large fundraiser for the organization, so it's very important. And we had tremendous support with all of our members, and so it was a success. But we went to a digital format because we didn't know if we'd be able to do it in person. And it was good, but we learned a lot of things from that. And so this year's festival, we're looking to take more into a realm of a festival, meaning what I mean by that, having locations, because we're all parochial here in Pittsburgh, north, south, east, and west, where people can come to and they can get information about new communities, new homes, and then they can kind of go from there. But offer them a place for a nice, enjoyable afternoon or morning where they can grab something to eat or a drink, and then they can choose among what is out there, and then go to the retail locations in person with the models, et cetera.
Oh, and that'll be nice. And when is that this year?
Good question.
I think it's in the fall.
Of course, it's in October. We had to wait for the Steelers schedule to come out.
Of course.
Western PA, you know, they evolve, you know, they set their calendars around the Steelers, but it's the I believe it's the 9th, 10th.
I believe you're right.
And
I just
16 and 17. So yes, that'll be our open houses. So people will be able to go to the communities and our festivals. But there's a website that's launched that people can get information ahead of time and after the festival. You know, we try to do a group. It's almost like a group open house. But at the same time, provide that information through the internet, that people can get that 365, 24 hours a day, so if they can't make those 2 weekends, they can schedule and visit those communities and another weekend that they can do that.
Mm-hmm. And I know last year, I mean, we briefly talked about COVID and how it changed a lot of your in-person events, the Festival of Homes, of course, but I'm sure it changed the way a lot of these businesses operate. So how did Bamp play a role in getting everybody up, getting the builders back up and going?
I think that Jim and staff did an outstanding job. It was unprecedented times, and we really didn't know what was going on. And so what they did is they became a resource for builders, associates, et cetera, on how to get back open, what you could do. They sourced information from Pennsylvania Builders Association, National Association of Builders, and it was refreshing. They worked their tails off, but it gave protocols, it gave resources, it gave forums, et cetera. And so it was a long and arduous process, but they were there real time, providing the information in the feeds, and it was information that was vetted and useful that you could kind of plug and play. So, kudos to Bamp and Jim and the staff. They did a great job in guiding people through that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys, I know, are working hard. There's a lot of people that you get to connect with, mingle with in the industry. For you both, I guess this is more of a personal question, but how have you benefited from being part of this great organization all these years?
Well, for me, I guess, it relates to what I talked about previously, and that's the opportunity, the interaction with great people. And, I look at, again, Emory and Armina Stone, I look at the business that Emory's run over the years, and it's an opportunity to see smart people and how they make a business and expand a business. So the interactions that we have with all of our fellow members, if you will, to me is the greatest benefit, in addition to the things I'd mentioned previously.
Love it.
And for me, it's working with folks who are making a meaningful impact and contribution to their communities. We build communities. That's what we do. We build towns. We build communities. And it's those folks who. What's unique about our organization and our region is that the home building industry is predominantly family businesses. They're small companies. Many of our home builders are third and fourth generations. They're grandfathers. We have folks who, their great-grandfather was a founder of the association, and then, the grandson later on has also served as president, and now, their great-grandson is involved or granddaughter. We have a lot of women involved in the organization.
Are you referring to Paul? Was your great-grandfather involved?
No.
Nope.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, even our large, people would consider our larger builders, the Ryan Homes and Heartland Homes, they all were, again, originally from Western PA. They've taken those buildings systems and moved to other parts of the state and country, but their roots are in Western PA. And the family tree of those organizations. So it's fun to work with these folks. They're excited. They're dedicated. I'm proud to work on their behalf and serve as one of a loud voice in representing them and try and public policy issues to make sure that industry continues as they build the American dream of home ownership. That's what it's all been about, and that's what this country is founded on, and the Builders Association is an important cornerstone of that.
And tell me more about the building codes. I know ones are coming soon. Can you touch more upon that?
I don't know, Jim, can you take this one?
Yeah.
Jim, take it away.
That's actually one of the first things that I was involved in early on in my career here with the association. Pennsylvania, prior to 1999, had no uniform building codes. So when you had over 2,000 municipalities in Pennsylvania, half the towns had building codes, the other towns didn't, so you could build whatever you wanted. And of course our members said this doesn't, and then there was no uniformity, so you could build in Cranberry under one code and then go down the road to Jackson Township and build to a totally different, and so it was very difficult for builders. So we wanted some uniformity in the code. So over the years, and the code is a national code, so it's adopted, and then Pennsylvania is unique in that it then takes that code and says, okay, what makes sense for Pennsylvania? Because there are sometimes that there's things that are put into the code development process that really doesn't make sense for Pennsylvania. So there's a process to review those codes and then decide what is incorporated into the state's code. In the beginning of January 2022, we'll be adopting the 2018 version. So our association will be spending a lot of time this fall. Once the regulations are finally promulgated, adopted, we will be spending a lot of time educating our members as to what changes they have to do. And a lot of times it has to do with the energy code, how you make your houses energy efficient. It could be involved in the framing, the electrical, and sometimes we've agreed, and sometimes we've had to take advocacy efforts to say, wait a minute, this makes no sense. For instance, there was a mandate several years ago that every single family home was going to have a fire sprinkler put into the systems. We said, wait a minute, we're doing all these other things to keep our homes safe. That's a very expensive addition that can price consumers out of the market. So let's make sure that that's, instead of making it a mandate, let's make that an option where you have to present the information to the consumer and let the consumer decide whether or not they want that added fire protection. We have smoke detectors in every room and better electrical systems and so on and so forth. But that added expense should be just decided by a consumer. So we were able to successfully get that into our state code. Yep. So we're going to be very busy in the fall educating our members. There will be some additional costs associated with it, as Paul recognized. And so, the idea of having a specified plug for electrical cars, we were able to keep that out. Again, that's a consumer choice, not a government mandate. Because, again, a lot of times our purpose and intent is to keep our homes safe. But the code is a basic code. Then consumers can say, I want that. I'm willing to pay for that. I want that added protection. I want that added energy efficiency. I want that whatever it might be. So we're going to see a whole new round of codes January 1. And
that's great.
And then but that happens every 3 years, basically. So we'll go through, that's a continual process as the codes evolve, as homes new products are introduced, so on. We have to adapt that code and modify it every 3 years.
Makes sense. Well, this is a question for the both of you, Paul and Jim. Trends are always changing, and in the home building industry, things are always changing. So what are some trends that you're seeing now?
I think that this year's been interesting with COVID. I think people want homes that are safe and secure, and they're viewing homes in a new way right now. So home offices, pocket office, it no longer makes sense, or people don't want to work on their laptop at their kitchen. They want space, exercise areas, and how they view their overall home. So some new uses and functions within the home.
I feel like that's in every home these days, that are new homes that are built. It's hard to find one without the home office or the gym.
Right. And I think technology goes hand in glove with that. People are looking for, they They want good connectivity, high speed. They want the newest and greatest stuff, because years ago some of this technology was available and maybe it wasn't as good as we have now, but now it's become more affordable. And so people are morphing into that home as a living, breathing element that they function in. And I think that from an aesthetic standpoint, new textures, new colors, new materials on homes that are cool and interesting, so that you have great streetscapes. Black windows are popular now.
I love the black windows.
Very cool.
We've been talking about painting ours black, actually. What a cool look. I love it.
Well, Paul works directly with consumers all the time. One thing that we do as an association, and especially at the National Association, is we do a lot of economic and surveys and so on. So we are a source of information for our home builders to know. There's a lot of consumer surveys of, and as Paul said, home offices and so on. And then that we have evolved in certain types. Paul, specializes in, 55 plus housing type, so there's different types of home designs and communities designed for certain lifestyles and so on. So we serve as a resource for that, to provide information to our members that they can make informed decisions as they, stay in front of what, and then they can alter their designs and so on. So Paul knows better than I do what the consumers are wanting to buy and what they're willing to pay for. And
Oh, I bet. And we mentioned this earlier, president of Bamp, and of course, Scarmazzi Homes. I love everything about your company and what you have built. It's an incredible thing in Pittsburgh, and I know so many people, so many of my friends, their homes were built by you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you mentioned one of your goals, Paul, as the president, was to get better in the digital world, on the digital side of things with your website, new changes there. So how can people contact Bamp, contact you, if they want to find out more information, if they want to become a member or join the board, or what's the best way?
They can simply Google PGH.
yeah, our website is www.pghhomebuilders.com, and really that's where you can go to find out about membership and services and a listing of our builders. But as Paul said, we are in the process of revamping that, making it more consumer friendly. Log on often because there'll be changes occurring throughout this year, and we're really excited about launching a new website to let our, promoting our members even in a better way than we're doing it today, and providing that information to consumers, but then also providing information to our members and potential members.
That's awesome. Well, I thank you both so much for coming on here today. It's been such a pleasure learning more about Bamp and AMP.
Yeah. And
now
I should
know
say,
the difference.
on AMP, it's amp.us. So
amp.us.
if you're interested, you can join one or the other or both. We have joint discounts if you're interested in the membership side, so you can do dual memberships, or you can decide which one you want to join. We're a full-service organization, and I would love to have, if you're in the industry, you should be a member, because that's how you stay informed.
Exactly. The educational part of being a member is, I think, probably the most important. That's
professional
wonderful.
development is an important piece of it, and we find people saying, well, I wish I would have known that. And we say, well, are you a member of the association? No. Well, there you go.
I know. Come on, people. You got to join Bamp and AMP. Well, before we go, we do have to sing a little bit. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
No one told me there's no.
Yes.
My wife says I can't carry a tune in a bucket, so we're in trouble.
Wait until you hear me, Jim. It's pathetic. But we were talking about our event here at Armina Stone Festival of Homes coming up later this year in the fall. Do you have any other events coming up this summer?
We have, again, we had to shut down. We stayed active throughout the COVID until October, when the venues, our indoor events we had to shut down. But we had a great picnic earlier this month. We try to mix some fun with our networking. We've sold out our golf outing. We have this great event here at Armina. We plan on doing some others of that type. Our Pittsburgh Housing Conference was going to be launched. We're reviving that as our professional development in March of 2020. too. But we have something going on every month. So again, and those are all posted on our website. We invite folks, who are interested in the association to reach out to us. We actually say, come on, join us for, on our dime for the first time, kick the tires, try us out. And then, but there's something every month that we try to at least give an opportunity for our members to gather and exchange information and fellowship.
That's a good way to stay active. I love it. Well, Jim and Paul, it is time to sing. And we're only singing the jingle, so it's short and sweet. So we will do the Ooh, Armina Stone all together.
Oh, my God.
I'll count us down.
I know that. I've seen that on the commercial.
Yes.
Where's Emery?
Here we go. He's somewhere in here. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, Armina Stone. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Jim Eichenlaub and Paul Scarmazzi from Bamp. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thanks for having us.